Salut pour tous et soyez les bienvenus dans le programme Planète Équitable avec Ed Zanetti. We were discussing solutions to climate change and we were pretty much talking about urban spaces, and in the urban spaces we saw a few alternatives to reduce emissions, and we start talking about increasing removals by implementing the green infrastructure in cities. So green infrastructure involve agricultural areas, pasture areas, hortifruti areas, tree growing areas, silvicultural areas, all of them integrated in the urban and rural spaces in order to promote stock and flow of ecosystem services that will reduce the stress in the cities and increase the offer of social and economic services in rural areas. So that there will be specific rules, for example, for constructions, for building in cities along the water bodies. You will have sewage and solid urban residue systems that had to be much more appreciated than the ones that are used in regular spaces. And of course the constructions will have to use much more wood, much more industrial wood in order to increase the stock of carbon within the cities. And in rural spaces, we will concentrate our efforts on having the ecosystem services along the water bodies and at some specific areas that have those geographical accidents that we talked earlier, which will have some specific characteristics, and those areas will be the ones that will assure a stock and flux of ecosystem service in rural areas. And by doing that, we will have much more area that can be used to implement the green infrastructure, to provide social and economic services to societies, to communities within the forest areas. So the green infrastructure is a way to promote sustainable development, to assure environmental quality while growing economically and socially. And that's what we'll be talking about in our further episodes, how productive areas, natural areas cope with that objective of sustainable development, of growing with low carbon emissions. Let God's peace and the love that builds be our weapons on our daily struggle for justice. Ed Zanetti for tous les amis africains.